how you do anything is how you do everything. The first time I heard this statement, I wasn't 100% sure that I believed that how I did anything was how I did everything. But the more time I spent analyzing my strategies and how I do things in my life, I realized that there was definitely a recurring theme around the way that I did things when I compared them to other people. I'll give you an example of how my default mode or my default setting for getting things done is one of starting soon, making quick decisions, and just going out of the gates and pushing. Somewhere along the road, I've told myself a story that in order to get things done and to achieve things and be able to get ahead, I need to start soon, push hard, and get things done. And I saw this as a strategy in a way that I worked when I started writing my book. About a year ago, I arrived in Canada, and I had decided when I got there I was going to start writing. And on the day that I was going to start, I sat down and I wrote for 4 hours. And the next day I wrote for another 4 hours, and another 4 hours, and another 4 hours, and another 4 hours. And in about 3 weeks, I basically churned out almost 50% of the first draft of my book. And then I ran out of steam completely, and I told myself a different story as to why I got busy with other things. And I noticed that it tends to be a recurring theme about how I do a lot of things. The other day I had been working in Panama, and I was on my way to go for a run. I was feeling amped after the work that I had been doing, and I decided I was going to go for a run. I got out of the gate, feeling strong, feeling amped. I started to run. I knew that I was going to do 10Ks, and I started to run pretty much as hard as I could do. Within about 4Ks, and around just before I was about to turn around at the 5K mark, I realized I'd started way too strong, and I had almost burnt myself out. And at the turnaround point, I was walking at stages, my pace came off dramatically, and I started to see this link of how I do anything tends to be how I do everything. And it just made me realize that if we can start to understand the way that we run strategies in our lives, and we can start to identify the things that we do, sometimes those things no longer serve us. And what I mean by that is, in my life, I think I could be better placed by starting to tackle projects perhaps with a little bit more elegance and a little bit less bravado and pace, and almost forced to get things done. Maybe start a little bit more gently, and instead of burning myself out after 4 weeks of writing every single day, write 4 hours 3 times a week and get to the end of the project a little bit more slowly. So if you're spending some time having a look at things in your life and starting to understand how you do things, and you find specific behaviors or recurring themes in your life that perhaps are no longer serving you anymore, spend some time having a look at the areas of your life that you can easily make adjustments in order to change your behavior, because the way you do anything is how you do everything. So for me, perhaps the way that I tackle projects may not necessarily be easy for me to start slowly, but next time I go for a run, instead of tearing out of the gate from the moment that I start, I'm going to spend a little bit more time getting into my run, listening to my body, spending time understanding that stuff, and hopefully that way of thinking basically comes across into other areas of my life and how I run other strategies in my life. I have spent the last 5 days on the Baja Peninsula in Mexico with a friend of mine. It's been incredible. I'm in Mexico City at the moment, about to catch a flight to Puerto Escondido on the mainland in Mexico, and I'm going to spend some time there doing some surfing and putting out some more content. I hope you're having an amazing weekend. Cheers.